How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. Uh, we are in our Friday night show. So make sure that you guys like and subscribe as you come through. Hit that subscription. If you have the opportunity, go take a look at the membership, join that membership. If you're watching us on Twitter or Twitch, special shout out to you guys that are watching us from Twitter and Twitch. You guys can also follow the channel on Twitter or Twitch and hit the like button on the show from that area as well. If you guys want to come on to the show in real time, you can click that link in the comment section. Approve the mic, approve the camera. It brings you on in real time. Got to be over the age of 18 to be on the show in real time. And then those of you that are commenting on the comment section, you guys can also get your comments seen up above if they are appropriate. If they are not appropriate, they won't be too inappropriate. They'll be removed from the channel. So keep in mind for that. We've got some of the latest values for the stocks that we are working on with our dividend rotation going across the top of the screen. So for those of you that were following our dividend rotation strategy, you will be in the know on a daily basis as to what we've got going on with that. He said pre-recorded stream. Boy, you be throwing some tests out there just to make sure that this show live every night of the week. I could tell you it. I have thought about doing pre-recorded shows, and I have not yet put in the effort to do that because since it's easier to go live. You do realize, so when it comes down to a pre-recorded show, the first thing I have to do is record it, and then because it's pre-recorded, any mistakes that are made during the live stream, I would put forth extra effort to edit that out and then schedule it for airing. Now, understanding that certain you got to make sure that I ain't AI. Nah, I'm not AI. The scheduling of the releasing of the show, I get a lot of traffic. Well, I don't get as much as I could. I get a lot of traffic at this time of night, but I would get even more traffic if I aired in the middle of the day, round about lunchtime. So, and that truthfully probably be a time I'd be asleep. So if I was going to have a pre-recorded show, it would be while the sun is still out in America. That would probably be a pre-recorded show. And I'd probably get a lot more traffic off of that show. But the show would be a whole lot shorter because it wouldn't be as interactive, because it would just be me providing you guys with facts and information on whatever I'm recording, and then just walk off the air and tell you to come to the live show later that day, where then I would jump on on the live show because there's more viewers on Twitch midday, and there's more individuals. For some reason, everybody's lunch break, they're on Twitter and stuff. So, I would probably get a lot more followers if I pre-recorded some of them and released them during the day. And with a pre-recorded show, I would ignore the comment section anyway. So that would probably benefit. People are used to being ignored during a live broadcast. So if that were the case, nobody would be able to know if it was live or recorded if I'm not interacting with the comment section. But so far, I am currently live and not pre-recorded because I don't find value in it. It actually I would have to put in more work to pre-record it. Even if I pre-recorded it with the mistakes and then just aired it as is, it still requires me to sit there for an hour, record it, set up the show, set up all of the information for the show, schedule it, and then walk away from it. And I would have to check on it, make sure it airs. And then I still do my regular shows. So that might be something to do on vacation, but I don't know. He said, true, but remember when that trial was here, you got a lot of views, probably because he was interacting a lot. Well, oh, yeah, the troll. Oh, yeah. Well, one of the reasons why I go live, I actually got more views during the Trump thing because it was a Trump topic. So I do get more, the more action I get on my podcast, the more traffic I could potentially make from the comment section, because the algorithm goes off of the likes and views, the reactions. So when you're clicking those buttons, I do believe they're on the right side of the screen there. But if you're clicking those buttons, heart, stars, horseshoes, clovers, and balloons, pots, golds, and rainbows, if you're doing that, then that shows your interest in the channel, which has the channel shown to more individuals throughout the show. So if you're mashing those reaction buttons, then that helps out the channel. You hit the like button, that's a reaction as well. And then when you're commenting, the commenting actually does further exacerbate traffic on the channel. But the reason why I had so much coming in that day was because we were talking about a topic everybody was interested in, because we were talking about the bill that just got passed, and two, we were talking about Donald Trump. Half of the people that come want to hear me say something bad about Donald Trump, and the other half wants to hear me say something good about Donald Trump, and that turns into a lot of responses. He says, title of the stream, buying Trump gold phone and gold citizenship. Millions of views. I'm not going to lie. If I was to actually, truth, Donald Trump's phone did not get as much views as the bill changing everybody's benefits did. So when I started talking about political platforms and how those political platforms impact people's day-to-day lives, like, we got a lot more people coming in for that. But I mean, if I did waste money on getting the phone to show it, to feature the phone on the show and show everybody what it was about, I'd probably get maybe as much as I got on Monday. But YouTube wouldn't pay me for the phone. So the money I would spend on getting the phone and getting the service, I wouldn't make that much money off the YouTube video. Right. And that's one of the reasons why. So I am a lower level podcast, right? Because I only got like 36,000 subscribers, lower level podcast. And with YouTube's community guidelines, they put controversial topics in a restricted area that is limited to the adult viewership outside of parental controls. So anybody who's watching a channel, especially if you're watching from YouTube, if you go to your restricted, if you go to your settings on your cell phone, scroll down towards the bottom, you will see a location called restricted mode, and you turn that off, and it'll open up a whole nother area of YouTube that most people don't have access to, because by default, some content that is sensitive in nature is restricted. It's banned. It's blocked. And that means that it's not seen as easily as the person that's setting themselves on fire, or the person that's doing the ice challenge, or the person that's like doing the whole TikTok dance thing, or the girl that's exploiting her body on the show. Those things, they don't put that on restricted mode. But when you start talking about religion, politics, gender inequalities, any type of controversial topics, they put you in a whole, like any type of debate kind of thing where hate speech could potentially come about, they throw that into a restricted mode. A lot of profanity, they throw that into a restricted mode. And ultimately, it's harder to get seen. So recognizing that, I'm still going to cover the truth, and then that's going to make it harder for me to be seen. But as people stumble across my channel on their For You page, they come to find out, well, shit, this guy's talking about money, investing. This guy's talking about making better decisions. This guy's talking about changing the way life is functioned in a dysfunctional society. And I don't have a nice rack, so I can't like show off my body and get you to show up, and they'd be like, oh yeah, he's also smart. So unfortunately, you just have to take it for what it is. And then, when you come here and you hear some of the stuff that we talk about, and you're like, oh snap, I could benefit from that. Like, for example, the market is closed. You should be working on selling your global net for Monday. That way you got your profits off of it. Then you'll be able to see the profits coming in for us to go and talk about some of the other stocks down the line. Special shout out to Michael. Michael's back. You say new bill every single day. You should go on TikTok there's many people there. TikTok is a video game platform right now, and every time I say TikTok's got a buffer, bro. TikTok is dirty. It's got a buffer. And the buffer is that if I say more than one word in TikTok that is related to politics or something like that, they immediately flip me. Like there's a red flag that comes across my screen and tells me that I'm talking about politics. And then they just put me into the sensitive topic mode. So, TikTok isn't any better, but at least with YouTube, I still get aired and then I still get contacts and communications. So, it's cool. And I get the same amount of responses from TikTok that I do from YouTube. So it's good. And here we go. I like the entertainment here. Special shout out to Chris. Are you here to show us how to escape from the Matrix? No, I'm not. And then he asked me, are you Morpheus? No, I'm not. Michael knows what's going on. Fire me now. Okay, so note that we're live 7 nights a week, so you guys can come in and get information 7 nights a week. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we're talking more about money. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we talk about how to improve yourself personally, relationships, socially, and otherwise. Sunday is our members only shows. And then, make sure that you send this to somebody that you know that needs it. Let's go ahead and dive into today's topic because we got a lot to cover in a little time, and we're going to be covering it. And I want you to that's an interesting question. So, Kenneth, a wise man once said that first of all, you don't brag about your wealth. That's the first thing. Second thing is that when you do talk about your wealth, you only talk about less than 30% of what you have, right? Because the more people think you got, the more they're going to try to take from you. And if they can't get it from you voluntarily, then they'll try to extort it out of you some other way because they know you got it. So as long as people believe that you broke, they're not going to worry about you because they're going to feel like you don't have anything, which is why wealthy people do not dress rich. Gold chains, diamond rings, all this other stuff. Wealthy people wear standard clothes. So to answer your question, you asked me how much money do I have? I'm broke. And that's what Michael says. I'm broke. He said, no hate. What is the question, bro? So today we're supposed to be trying to figure out what happens if you just got fired and you're trying to figure out what to do next. This is something that's been common that has happened this year for a lot of people since we've had almost 750 million people that have lost their jobs either by downsizing from the government or rollbacks from inflation. And this is something that everybody's going to be dealing with. They either going to tap you on the shoulder and say that, you're part of the select few that have early retirement or forced retirement, which is still being fired. Or you have the other scenarios where those Gen Zs that like to come through and quit their jobs on a regular basis. And then all of a sudden, they don't have a job, or they disrespect their boss and their boss fires them. And that's one of the things that kind of messes them up as well. So it's a strong dynamic. So today we're going to be talking about what it is, how do you go through the motions, and then what do you do to bounce back off of? Because on this channel, we don't just go on a bitch fest and just woe is me and blame the other person. We really analyze what is the problem and then go over some ways that we can fix that problem, because it's all about fixing the things that suck about your life that could potentially make your life a little bit better than what it is. If there's anything that you wish wasn't the way it is, there should be another way. And all we have to do is just work our way through it. Now, a lot of times when what you don't like about your life is the consequences of past actions, you just got to deal with that until it resolves itself. But when it comes down to changing the standard of living that you have, you just got to make better decisions. Steven says, yeah, Microsoft was firing a lot of people lately, like around 9,000. Yeah, and then the liquor company, so it's like 200,000, and then tariffs was causing a bunch of layoffs in a lot of different industries. Over 200,000 over 200,000 companies that went AI with their workforce was firing 50 to 70% of their manual labor workforce, including Amazon. And that had nothing to do with the union that got formed at Amazon. There was a lot of people losing their job before Donald Trump decided to fire a bunch of people. And then with the immigrants being snatched up and deported, that's a lot of jobs being lost there. And then after those guys lose their jobs, the companies that used to benefit from those immigrants now don't have a customer base, and they're firing their employees because they can't afford to pay them all. So there's a lot of people losing jobs in a lot of places. It's steamrolling the unemployment line. It's crazy. And each one of those markets was like 200,000 here, 250,000 here, and almost 4 or 5 different. It's crazy. It's a lot. And we're going to be going over the stats of the quantity of firing that we've been experiencing over the past year. But it's a lot. Michael said, just fired, emotional roller coaster. Take a deep breath. Being fired is an emotional roller coaster, and we're going to be talking about that. He says, so homie, tell me something. Do you miss your childhood? No, I do not. Why would anybody? Can any adult right now on the channel remember what their childhood was like? Okay, now, if you marinated on that, you grew up in a middle class or lower class family. Your childhood sucked. You might have made some fun somewhere along the lines, but there were things that you couldn't do because you just didn't have it. One of the reasons why you're working so hard as an adult is because your childhood sucked. Your family went through the struggle. Your parents did the best that they could for you, and they gave you, look, yeah, exactly. We played when video games first started becoming popular. We were playing video games. We had the Nintendo 64. Well, we started with the regular Nintendo, then the 64, then the Sega Genesis, then the PlayStation came out, Dreamcast, Jaguar, Xbox. We've been doing video games like our childhood, like Resident Evil 0 at the age of 8. Like we was really out there knocking them out. Long before like kids started Fortniting on cell phones and spending up their mother's credit cards. So no, you as an adult, like the outside of that euphoria from video games, like childhood sucked. Your parents did the best that they could. You didn't have enough. You satisfied with what you had at the time, but you always wish that you had more. You when you become an adult, your goal in life, if you have children, is to give your child a better lifestyle than what you had, which means that, look, BB guns, water guns, paintball guns, ATVs, but bicycles, because we couldn't afford mopeds and shit. But if one of our friends had a go-kart, we'd be down on that. But these are the things that's like probably the best parts of life. But how often are you out there with the BB gun? Because you only had so much ammo, 1 or 2 CO2 cartridges, or the 4-pack. And then after that, once those CO2 cartridges were done, it was just a blank slate because it didn't do anything. And you had to wait until you could get some more money from your parents to go and get some more stuff, unless you went and got yourself a job. Once you started getting yourself a job to buy the things that you wanted in life, you started realizing that you had to work for everything that you wanted in life. Crazy, right? Now, spin that. Now you're 30, 40, 50 years old. The things that you want in life cost way more money than what it did when you were a kid. One of the things that you didn't like about being a kid was being told what to do. One of the things you don't like about the current workforce is being told what to do. Do you really want to go back to a time when your voice didn't matter? No. Do as I say, not what you want. Right? So no, nobody considers spinning back to their childhood and reliving their childhood. Now, you might want to go back and relive a specific moment in your childhood. You might want a specific moment in your younger days, like 1 or 2 days, one afternoon, some stuff like that, this one specific event. But the entire childhood, no. Average American's childhood sucked, because if it didn't, your ass is spoiled as fuck. You don't work because you don't have to, because you're probably part of the top 1%. If you had a fantastic childhood, if you had a fantastic childhood, and rich people don't have fantastic childhoods neither, because they're bullied into the empire. They call it being groomed for success. They're being bullied into the empire. They're not taught how to have a good time. They're not taught how to stay kids. They're taught about how to be successful. And they're not taught how to work for somebody else. They're taught how to negotiate their way into getting what they want. Usually those kids are entitled. They're the ones that will call the manager and get you fired. They'll buy the building to fire you just to make a point. Even if the building isn't profitable, just so that they can do whatever they want, make a lot of mistakes. So no, nobody really can say that they had a fantastic childhood. It just has the one with the least amount of trauma. Michael said I had to get up and change the channel on the TV. So broke we ate out of Cold Whip bowls stained with spaghetti sauce. That's like the average American household. He telling some people had flashbacks when you see that. Shoot. But let's take a look at this real quick. Right now, the year is 2025. As Vince McMahon gives you these words, you're fired. These are still echoing in your head when the first time you hear about this. And truthfully, modern days, they don't even hit you with the "you're fired." They hit you with the "I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to let you go." Bullshit. Like, bitch, where the fuck was I supposed to be going? Like, I came to work. You know what else is worse than that? A lot of the times, because they really gotta do it at the job. Instead of them calling you and just telling you don't come in at all ever anymore, they tell you that you gotta come in. You have to show up so that they can fire you. And when they bring you in on an unexpected, this isn't your shift kind of calling, you show up, and when you get there, your boss, your boss's boss, and sometimes your boss's boss's boss comes in, and then they want to bring you into the quote unquote office to have a meeting. And you probably work in a kind of job that doesn't really have a private location to talk. So now all of the other employees are trying to do work near your conversation so that they can eavesdrop on what the fuck just happened to you. But you're showing up with your uniform and you're walking out the door without your uniform. Clearly, your ass just got fired. And that's just how it happens. And oh boy, here we go. Special shout out to Crypto Financial. He said, let's talk about cryptocurrency being used to loosen the elite's power grip on our financial freedom. Not today. We could probably cover that on one of the Tuesdays, but that's a good idea. I don't really see how cryptocurrency is loosening the grip on the elites, because poor people can't afford to buy crypto. So, the middle class and lower middle class don't really have that much cryptocurrency under their belts. If they've got stock, which is one of the reasons why we've been talking to folks about investing in other things than crypto. But if you got a little extra money for your cryptocurrency, then you can surround yourself with cryptocurrency that probably could evade taxation. You just have to have a larger volatile market to be in. But if you do a buy and hold with cryptocurrency, it does have a 4% return, but you have to put enough money down to qualify for the 4% return. Otherwise, your money's just sitting there making no money at all. Think about that for a minute. Hello, Rohat. It's not there are no girls on the channel that I know so far. But ladies, if you've got something to say, shout out. Give a shout out. He said blockchain is God sent. Our base is that. Okay. Blockchain is very good. And eventually we're going to be primarily cryptocurrency or digital currency. Right now, over the next 10 to 20 years, the economy is stressing the paper money is going to reign supreme, even though 70% of Americans utilize debit ATM cards and digital pay wallets. But I strongly believe that we are going to end up in a digital currency era. It just might not be during my lifespan. Yeah, that's not going to work for me, Ringo. You're going to have to behave a little bit better than that. So we're going to have to let that comment disappear real quick. Now, once you hear these words, you're fired, or anything related to that. It feels like a physical blow, a sudden gut-wrenching halt to the life you had planned just yesterday. Gonna be honest with you, people don't like change, and your soul just drops when you have to leave your job. You know, your first thought probably is, how did this happen? Your second is almost definitely, what on earth did I do? What on earth do I do right now? And you're not imagining the pressure, you're living it, right? Right now, you're one of millions of people in the United States who are unemployed. You're not really thinking about that. Oh, look at that. He said change over to plastic money. Bro, if you start buying plastic stock right now, because they've been pushing plastic stock for a long period of time, if you change over to plastic stock right now, you'd be making a killing. So if they start doing, I don't think they'll do plastic currency, because plastic is not going to bend well, and that interferes with their ability to utilize ATM machines. But I'm glad you mentioned plastic real quick. Now, while the national unemployment rate isn't at a record high, that doesn't make your situation any less real. So the job market that currently is a brutal arena, more so now that AI is taking over the manual labor workforce. And it's no surprise that for a huge number of people, the search for a new job takes a serious toll on their mental health. So I got to tell you guys, if you've been in a situation where you've gotten fired recently, I see you. I hear you. The anger, the fear, the wave of shame that makes you want to pull the covers over your head and just disappear. We all know what it's like. We've been there. You know, most of us who've been in that situation before can remember sitting in the car after getting the news, unable to even turn the key, just replaying that conversation over and over, feeling the confidence drain away with every second. But I'm here to tell you guys that's something that really matters to you guys. I want you guys to understand this, is that the next 7 days are the most important part of the entire transition, which would be less complicated if you follow the information I gave you from the early retirement, the mini retirement strategy, which allows you to put away a decent quantity of revenue for the change of employment. The other show that I covered about budgeting for the loss of income, being able to put away a year and a half worth of financial stability, so that if you have a scenario where you cannot work for any reason, including being terminated, that you have a financial blanket there instead of living from paycheck to paycheck. The advices that happen on those shows clearly would give you all the information that you need to be the success that you're trying to be and still transition into something potentially better. He said they use it everywhere else. Europe, China, South America, plastic money, ATMs, vending machines work fine. I'm not sure about that. I would have to look into it. So far, we do paper money, so I'm not sure about plastic money as of yet. But I would have to do some research on it. When I cover the plastic money, then I'll let you guys know about it. Probably look into it tonight and talk about it tomorrow. Well, I'm not going to really do a whole show about plastic money, but I'll be able to comment on the plastic money tomorrow, because I'm not familiar with plastic money. I'm familiar with the paper money that we got right now. Probably would last longer and wouldn't catch on fire if they did plastic money. So I don't know if it is as malleable as the currency that we have right now. I don't know why we're not doing plastic money in the United States. But, counterfeit is counterfeit. So eventually they'll copy that too. But what you do this week, this first week of being terminated, will set the foundation for everything that comes next, because it can be the difference between a downward spiral and a strategic, powerful comeback. Downward spirals typically require you to be in a loss for an extended period of time, and that loss leads to catastrophic change where you're unable to financially recover, which ultimately leads you to bankruptcy, right? You owe more money than you make too long, they start charging things off. You really can't be unemployed for 90 days, because if you're unemployed for 90 days, everything gets charged off. It just doesn't work. Michael says sometimes getting fired from a job may be the best thing for you. Nothing in life, grief without fertilizer. Oh, you mean like grows? Oh yeah, you're right. Oh, nothing in life gets better without fertilizer. Oh, you're right. That's true. Well, the thing is, some of us work on a job that really sucks, and it is the only source of income that we have. And we go to that job no matter how much we hate it, and we depend on it. We become codependent towards it. Then when the job lets us go, we have a panic attack because we have no other way that we have thought of, because we've never tried to find another job. We've never tried to get better employment. We just go every day just to see what we can do. And yes. Oh, I see how it is. Ignoring my comments. That's exactly right. Because as I said before, I'm only promoting the appropriate comments. So while your comments aren't truly extremely inappropriate, I'm not interested in Epstein's list. So those individuals that are remotely here discussing something positive and close to the topic are going to be individuals that I'm going to entertain. Michael said, we're using plastic money daily. It is called a debit card. Also true. I wasn't thinking about the debit cards. You do make a good point. I was thinking about plastic money. Well, you can demand it all day long, buddy, but I do not have anything to do with that guy's list. So, if you know where to find Epstein's list, then by all means, brother, go find it and then post it on your channel. There you go. That's how you get Epstein's list. You don't get Epstein's list from me, because I'm not following his list. I could care less how many people besides Diddy is on the same list of Santa's naughty group. I don't really care. So today, on today's show, we're going to be doing more than just a few quick tips. This is going to be your day-by-day survival guide. We're going to walk through the emotional chaos and the critical first steps one day at a time to make sure that you don't just survive this, that you come out stronger. And we will build a plan that takes you from that initial shock of being fully prepared to conquer the job market and move you straight into getting in that next job. So take a breath. Let's start this journey together. And then let's start with day one. The first 24 hours after being fired are a whirlwind. It's like being caught in a flash flood. You're disoriented. Everything is moving too fast. And your only instinct is to flail and grab onto something. Today's mission is simple but non-negotiable. You have to give yourself permission to feel and process the shock. Okay? This is one of the things that you have to do. It is going, no matter how much pride you have, no matter how strong you are, the harder you think that you was working on this job and the more that you care about this job, even though the job doesn't care about you. You can hate a job that you care about. You put everything into it. You have anger and fear and emotional distress because you do not feel validated from this job, because you probably give more than the other people in your area on your job. You probably save your boss's career more times than you can count. You probably save the company more times than the company is willing to admit. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, some real unrealistic situation occurs, and then they end up terminating your employment. You are distraught and distressed by the amount of effort that you put into this job, and then all of a sudden you don't have it anymore. And then if you've got that capability, you're moving back home with your parents. If you got that capability, because a lot of times you might have to move in with a brother or a sister. God forbid you have to move in with an ex or a best friend. Whoever it is that you've lost it all, and now you've got to go and move in with somebody else because you don't have a job. That is the worst part of it, because you have to tell somebody that you have inherently failed at life. And if this isn't the first time that it's happened in your life, that you're telling the same person, it's a repeated behavior. You know that they're going to let you hear about it. And God forbid that they were trying to warn you that this was going to happen before it happened. That's going to make it even worse. So not only are you beating yourself up from the time you hear those words until the time you get to the person that you say, hey, I need your help. I need to crash on your couch for a little while till I get back on my feet. You are now going to get beaten up a second time by the person that you tell that things aren't going according to plan. If you can keep yourself from losing your house and losing your car or sleeping in your car, if you don't lose your car, you're trying your best not to tell everybody else that life sucks right now. But as soon as you have to break that into them, that's a whole nother level of fucked upness, right? And he said, what did he said? Erickson's language patterns might help with this. Probably. I haven't thought about looking up another AI platform that would help me out with scripts for this particular show. But today is not for action. The first day of getting terminated on a job is for acceptance. And let's be honest about what's happening in your brain. You are grieving. Psychologists talk about this, the stages of grief, and they apply just as much to losing a job as any other major loss. Special shout out to Talenia. She said, it's a life. You're right. It is a part of life. It happens. The first time you lose a job, you don't know what to do with yourself. You don't know how, you feel ashamed, embarrassed. You don't want to tell anybody, but you got to tell your parents because you're not going to work anymore. Like the first time that I had a buddy of mine who lost yet another job. He loses probably a job every 2 or 3 years, and he typically works 2 jobs at a time. So he always has a backup job, but yet still, with the quantity of jobs that he's had over the past decade, he's probably had about 10 or 12 jobs. And yet and still, when he gets fired, he's still embarrassed to say, they fired me again. And I'm probably the only person that he knows that will not mock him for being fired. Like, he's like, oh man, he'll say, oh, I got fired again. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. What happened? Oh, okay. I see. And that's it. Like that's it. That's the fullest extent. Like, he'll tell me what happened. I'm like, oh, okay, I see. So that's bullshit. Oh, they fired you. I think that's fucked up. That's it. I'm not going to just, oh man, I told you were going to get fired. I'm not going to hit him with that. But that some people would do that. You know, you can never keep a job. Some people would do that. No, I understand. Situation ended up beyond your control at some point. It just has to happen. And this is where we start dealing with the 7 stages of grief, like Michael said. Right? Special shout out to those y'all that's watching us on Twitch. If in the event that we put information on the show that you guys can benefit from, we throw it into the comment section. You guys can get it on replay when we replay the show on YouTube. because after the show goes live, it is archived and accessible on the primary YouTube channel. So if you decide to make your way over to the YouTube channel, like and subscribe over there for any information that you get from here, from the Twitter side of things. That way you have it for later playback. Anyway, one of the things that you guys are going to deal with is denial. First thing you're going to be thinking about, this can't be real. It has to be a mistake. They'll call me back tomorrow, and you'll just try to sleep on it. Like, they'll calm down and we'll work this out tomorrow kind of thing. This is a coping mechanism, your mind's way of softening the blow. Then comes the anger, typically at your boss, the company, the one coworker that probably caused it, maybe even at yourself for not doing enough or making certain changes or seeing this coming. This is interesting. He said, Cash Patel, special shout out to 100-year-old man. He said, Cash Patel. And then he asked me, he's on YouTube, and he asked me a redundant question, or you're on YouTube. You're watching me on YouTube, bro. Of course you're watching me on YouTube. Can somebody verify? Well, first of all, if you see that little YouTube symbol right there, that is the YouTube comment section, which means that you're live on YouTube. Then the rest of you guys that are popping in from Twitter X, you see that X up there, that means they're coming from Twitter. There's a purple one up here for Twitch, for those individuals that come in from Twitch. That's how you know where you're coming from. She said, I was always successful. Fantastic. Individuals who never fail do not know exactly what it feels like to learn something new from failure. You are Cash. Nope. I mean, verify your Cash. Why am I verifying my Cash? There's no reason. Michael says, sleep, not happening. Get the drugs out. Well, yeah, true. There are some people who end up in a situation where the first thing they go home, they smoke, they drink, they hit up a homeboy, one of their closest buds. They tell them the bullshit they just went through, and then they try to work out the situation. You keep asking me, are you Cash Patel? And I keep telling you no. You look and sound like him. No, he looks and sounds like me. I was here first. I don't know a Cash Patel, which means he's not that famous. Oh, look, remember to like and subscribe, y'all. Oh, boy. There it is. Like, subscribe, and mash those reaction buttons, y'all, while y'all still can. So after you get pissed off at everybody, the anger is valid. It's a natural response to feeling discarded. Then you might drift into bargaining. You know, if only I had worked later, or if only I hadn't spoken up in that meeting. You're not necessarily bargaining with your boss. You're rationalizing the scenario with yourself, trying to assess how this could have gone better. What circumstance could have gone the other way. And that's one of the reasons why you do this rationalization. This is the painful loop of what ifs and should haves. And then finally, a wave of deep sadness can set in, and reality solidifies. The loss of income, routine, identity, and your work friends that you have to accept. And this is a heavy weight to bear. He says, okay, good. Well, he's the head director of the CIA, and he said he'd release the Epstein files and didn't. Almost. Oh, well, I'm going to take that as a joke, because I don't believe that the head of CIA looks like me. More than positive. because I would have gotten away with so much stuff in my life if I looked like the head of the CIA. I would have had so many kissing my behind. Boys in blue, I would have had so much respect. That don't work. Anyway, their brain is still processing the firing. You know it's right. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I will take a look after the show and find out who the head of the director of the CIA is, because I could have thought that it was an old dusty white dude. That's what I thought it was. I figure the government is run by and you know, yeah, I know what that sounds like. I just figured that the entire government has the largest majority of really old, wrinkly white dudes in power. And next to them would probably be a handful of wrinkly old black dudes in power, which I am neither of, because there are no wrinkles on this handsome face. So I couldn't expect myself to look like I think the CEO of the CIA is like 20 years older than me. So I don't know. I don't think we would mash up. I don't. She said, but men rejected me sometimes, which also hurts. Well, doesn't mean that you easy on the old jokes. Well, easy on the Epstein jokes. I just turned. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. That's not possible. He said he just turned 100 years old. No, that's not possible. Trump said that all these people on Social Security that's over 100 years old is false. I think he said there was like one person that genuinely was, I think 100 or 123, something like that, and all the rest of them were fraud. So now we're in that situation where we're laying this all out because we need you guys to understand that whatever you're feeling right now, immediately after you're getting fired, is completely normal. It's part of a well-documented psychological process. So hear me out, please. When I say this, do not try to suppress it. And I'm going to tell you again, do not try to power through it, right? That's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. Eventually, it will shoot up with explosive force, and usually at the worst possible moment. So what should you not do today? This is just as important. First, do not fire off long, right? Emotional emails to your old boss or HR. You don't want to do that. You do not want to spend time sending dirty letters to the boss. You do not want to spend time sending dirty letters to HR. And then don't write a scathy tell-all post on LinkedIn where you're sitting there telling the whole how you got fired situation and how they plotted against you situation and posting that on LinkedIn. You don't want to do that either. Acting from a place of raw emotion is like making a life decision during an earthquake. The ground is unstable and your judgment is clouded. Really and truly, you should just not at any point in time reach out to anyone for anything negative during the first 48 to 72 hours that you are experiencing that termination. After that, you start rationalizing the situation, you start getting past it, and then you start making logical and rational decisions. Because once you put something on the internet, it might be so negative and unable to be taken back to the point where when you do try to recover from that, you end up negatively impacting your future outcomes. Exactly. Like Michael said, don't react. It's just like when somebody threatens your safety. Don't react. Oh, yeah, well, if you do this, then I'll do that. Don't react. The fact is, it happened. It's done. Go sit down. Think about it. This is very beneficial for you because it prevents you from acting out of sorts. Let's say the job fired you for inappropriate behavior, right? If you act inappropriately after you get fired, guess what happens? They say, see, this is why we fired you. You verify and validate their statement. When, first and foremost, before I get into the nitty-gritty of this topic, you got to understand, if they fire you for anything other than not doing your job, it is not justified by the labor board. So you're entitled to unemployment compensation. So go get your free money, bro. When my boss used to tell me, oh, I'll fire you, I'll look at my boss like, fire me. I'll stay at home for 12 months. I dare you to fire. We would have those conversations. I dare you. I triple double dog dare you to fire me, bro. I've crossed over my 90 days, bro. I'm entitled to all the overtime I've been doing, bro. They'll be giving me full paychecks to sit at home, bro. Like I said, after your first firing, they get easier to work through. Oh, yeah. The more often you get let go, the easier it is. She keeps saying blackmail. Don't blackmail. Don't blackmail. Talenia keeps saying blackmail. Do not blackmail. That does not work. Do not blackmail. Do not white female. Do not mail. Do not. Anything you say in anger can and will be used against you. Burning bridges you might need later in ways you can't even see yet. Not to mention the idea that in some situations, you got jobs that are shitty jobs. You might get fired by a boss that's a shitty boss. Then that boss might get fired. Then you might get called from the boss's boss and they hire you back on the job. But see, if you get fired by the shitty boss and then you talk shit to the company, and then the company sends that emails to the upper management, then the upper management that would have hired you back now blacklists you. You don't want to say anything negative to the boss. Like, I know what you do in private life. Well, if you're hanging out with your boss, you got work friends, you know what they do in their private life because you was probably doing it with them. So if you got fired for it, well, I wasn't alone in that. But you shouldn't have to blackmail him. You should be able to work around that. Which is worse, to fire a male or a female? That's a good question. In my observation, I think that men have a harder time finding new employment than women. Women would disagree. But men have manual labor jobs that they work towards. When we start talking about getting back into the same field, it's equally difficult. But when we talk about the opportunity to find anything that pays, women have a lot more options than men do. And women might disagree with this. But ladies, if you disagree with it, clarify. I'm hypothesizing here because I think about the kind of jobs that men get. Because men can be cooks, women can be cooks, men can work in tech, women can work in tech. Men can work in manual labor jobs, women can work in manual labor jobs, but women can work with children. Men can work in hospitals, women can work in hospitals, men can work in caregiving situations, but there's a whole different field of employment that is exclusively not favorable to men, which is working with children, even though guys are really good with kids. So like a woman can get fired from a bank and then be a teacher, daycare sitter, babysitter, babies too. Like Michael said, babies as well. Yeah. Babysitters, dog sitters, stuff like that. Like I'm not saying that they're high paying jobs. I'm just saying like there are occupations that like it's okay if a woman does it, but if a man does it, like everybody's like, ooh, he's a creep. What do you mean? Like, I'm just trying to make some money, bro. So is it really easier for a man to get a job or a woman? I think that it's probably easier for a woman to get a different kind of job. She might not get a job that she wants, but it's easier for her to get a different kind of job than a man. Because a man can't say, oh, well, I'm just going to babysit my neighbor's kids until I find me a new job. If that man doesn't have kids, no woman is going to give him her kid, because every woman believes that men are creeps, even though men are protectors when the women want to be protected. But when the women don't want to be protected, those exact same men become dirtbags. So they're not going to put their kid in the hands of a man unless that man has children of his own. So a single woman with no kids can be a nanny. She can be a babysitter. She can be an in-home caregiver of some sort. Man, no. Man can be a chef. He could be a chauffeur. That's it. But you talk about some single with no children and have him raise 3 kids in the house, 2 girls. Nope, not happening. That's what I'm saying. So good question though, Michael. That's a good thought. Second, don't immediately start doom scrolling through LinkedIn, comparing yourself to the perfect careers of your connections. More often than not, the connections that you have on LinkedIn are all automated. So you don't have genuine connections on LinkedIn. It's just everybody who has an account that has a contact that has you in their contact list or is a second friend of the person that's in your contact list. And then if they have 3 or 4 mutual friends that you have, then they end up becoming your friend, but it's not like they know you. So it's a more intertwined social media platform than Facebook, but they don't know you. So don't compare yourselves to individuals who have listed good careers because they may have shitty jobs. I could tell you, I have not updated my LinkedIn in so long. I don't even remember what's on it, but I know that some bitch had like upper management information on there. Like I still get text messages from people that are like, hey, we've got a job that you would be good at. Are you interested in more information? No, bro, I work for myself. I do not want to work for you. I make just enough money to do the things that I want to do in life that I do not need to leave my house every day to work for you. He said, fire, create your own job. That's exactly it. And you said that yesterday or Tuesday, as a matter of fact, that you can either create your own job. No, it was yesterday. It was yesterday. You said create your own job title in your business, or now that you've gotten fired, you can create your own business since you got all the time in the world, especially if you have and she's right, never share your thoughts with your colleagues. You can start up your own business because you got all the time in the world now. One of the things that I would do is find some kind of side hustle that pays. Then outside of that side hustle that's paying, you focus on building up your business. If you've got 18 months worth of money set aside from your mini retirement strategy that I told you guys about, I think last week, then you have plenty of time to build up the ability to make money off of that side job. And he says, share only your success. Well, okay. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't share shit. I wouldn't tell anybody about anything, to be honest. Like, I would let people know that things are stable and kind of leave it at that. Because when you share your successes, you're sharing your financial victories. And the more time, like if you say, well, I won a lottery, I won a settlement, I got this, I got paid over here, sharing your success, then people know that you got money. And like she said, it's also dangerous. You don't want to tell them that you've succeeded. You just don't want to let them know that you failed. You keep your shit to yourself. He said, treat colleagues the way ball players treat reporters. Exactly. Side hustles and estate sales. You said that about those estate sales before, bro. They could start selling the stuff in their house if they need some extra money. And yes, you're right, Talenia. Jealousy will fuck up everything, and that's one of the reasons why you don't want to let it. First of all, you don't want to let people know that you got success going on around you, because that's when they know that they have something to sabotage in you. Then you don't want to let a lot of people know about the failure that's happening, because the people that are wishing bad on you are going to try to call themselves celebrating your failures. You don't want people popping up out of nowhere, rubbing it in, ruining your self-esteem even more by making you regret the fact that you told them or somebody tipped them off that you're not doing good right now. So you never let them know that things aren't going the way you want it to go. Everything's fine because I still have a pulse and I still have a plan. That's what matters. I still have a pulse. I still have a plan. So I don't know where I'm going to end up, but I still have a pulse. I still have a plan. Comparison is the thief of joy. So you don't want to do that. A lot of us do that. We compare ourselves to social media highlights, and nobody matches up with that. But one of the things I've been telling you guys is that if you think about the fact that 30-second video, that 60-second video on social media probably took 5 minutes to create, and the other 23 hours out of that day could have been shit for that person. So don't look at that photo or that video and think, oh, they've got the best life. It's like, shit, you might have took an hour to edit that video, but the other 23 hours of your day sucked. She said not to be friends with chefs. That's a good one. So one of the things that you'll understand is that you only see curated success stories, meaning that they piece it together to look like they're successful. And this will only make you feel even worse, because it seems like on paper that they've got their shit together, but they don't. So don't do that to yourself. He said, music get real loud when folks ready to dance on some groove. We all wear masks, actors on the stage. We all put on a perception of ourselves on social media, but we also put a perception on ourselves in our daily lives. As we curate that particular perception of ourselves, we start practicing the role that we want people to identify us as. And then over time, we end up, I appreciate that sweatshirt. Thank you so much. Over time, we realize that it takes a lot of effort to pretend like you're something that you're not. You know, it is so easy to be yourself. If you're a dick, if you're a Karen, just be that. Just be that. Wear that badge with pride. Wear that asshole merit with pride. Don't pretend like you're a people person when you hate people. See what I'm saying? Don't pretend like you're an animal lover when you hate animals. Don't pretend like you're a smoker when you got asthma. Just be yourself. You feel me? And that is so much easier to do. But a lot of people put in a lot of effort into pretending like they're something that they're not. And then when a bubble pops, like you get fired off of your job, the real bitch that is you comes out. And that's when they're like, oh, that's not their normal self. No, this is really who they are. The person that's whining and complaining about how life sucks, that is who they really are. They just keep that hidden from you when they're sober and when they're not going through crap. That's why not talking about it, not going through the motions in the comfort of your own home. That's one thing. But broadcasting it to the world, that's why you don't want to do that. Michael said, we are seen in 3 ways: how you see me, how others see me, and how I see myself. And what a lot of people focus themselves on is how other people see me. They don't care how the person that is in front of them sees them. They care about how society outside of the house sees them. They don't care about how they see themselves. What matters to them most is how society outside of the house sees them. And you got to stop that. So what you should do on day 1, unplug. Disconnect. Give yourself space. Your only job on day one is to take care of yourself. Go for a long walk, put on a movie that makes you laugh or cry, whatever you need. Call that one trusted friend or family member who will just listen while you vent, not jump into giving you advice. You need a witness to your pain, not a strategist, not yet at least, right? He said, don't hang your laundry out for people to see it. That's an old school saying. You know, you got those individuals that be airing out all your dirty laundry. They be talking about all the bad things that's going on in your life. You don't want to air out any of the negative things that you got going on in your life for random everyday individuals to pass by and see what you got going on. This is going to be your emotional triage. In an ER, they stop the bleeding before they set the bone, right? Your emotional state is the bleeding. We have to stabilize it first, acknowledge that feeling of shame. It's a liar getting fired. This is going to be a business transaction. It is not a verdict on your character or your worth. With millions of others in the same boat, you are part of a massive unseen community, and you are not a failure. You are a person in transition. And if you set yourself up for that transition, it is not a stressful transition. So today, let's that be enough for you. Just rest. Probably something you haven't done for a long time. You might want to rest for 2 or 3 days. Tomorrow, we're going to start gathering our tools, and then we're going to figure out what we're going to do next. So if you're watching this video and you've made it through your day one, you let yourself feel the shock, and hopefully you're in a slightly calmer place. Even if you're still unsettled, day two is coming about. He asked me, can I pull out one of those books? I love that. Should I reach onto my bookshelf and grab a book? Probably so. But will I reach on my bookshelf and grab a book? Definitely not. I know I had a lot of people tell me that that's a green screen. I don't understand. Are you fascinated about the large quantity of books in the background, or like, I don't get that. Because truthfully, if I do grab a book off of the shelf behind me, it doesn't change anything. It's just like, well, I have a collection of books. Do I read those books? Because if I read those books, wow, I got a lot of knowledge. Oh, but wait, I got a lot of knowledge because you come to the show every day and I'm covering a different topic and providing you wisdom and insight on a daily basis. I got it from somewhere. Michael said, you're not a failure. You're broke. Talk with someone you trust. Well, okay, you're not necessarily broke, but you're not rich, so it's always good to try with somebody you trust. Definitely want to talk to somebody you trust. He said, I'm into your books. They look old. That's what's up. Hey, Rick Shaw, good to see you again. Happy Friday. He tells me, dude had the audacity to say, oh, I'm not into you faking. Hold on, wait a minute. How am I faking? I'm telling you how to get over getting yourself fired. I think that's very interesting. All right, day two. We shift from emotions to information. This is the audit day. If you haven't already done this on Tuesday's show, this is your audit day. The goal is to replace the chaos of the unknown with the clarity of cold, hard facts. Now, on day two, you're taking control of the data, and this is the first step in taking back control of your life. So we're going to tackle this in 3 parts: your finances, your exit package, and your unemployment benefits. So first, financial triage: fear, loves, ambiguity. That vague, terrifying monster of what if I run out of money can be very paralyzing. So let's turn the lights on. Grab a notebook or open a spreadsheet. You have an app on your Android. You have an app on your iPhone. Start jotting some stuff down. Create a simple 2-column list. Column 1, essential monthly expenses. This is the stuff that you absolutely need: rent, mortgage, utilities, groceries, car payments, insurance, minimum debt payments. Be ruthless here. That daily Starbucks run isn't essential. Your 5 streaming subscriptions are not essential. We need to be bare bones. Number it. And this is going to, you need to put down how much money you need to survive on your current standard of living. And then in the second column, list your non-essential expenses, which is everything else. Now, if you guys were following a lot of, he said, TT ask back your life. True. If you've done this before, top ramen, top ramen time. You should have been on top ramen from the gate. But if you haven't done this before, because when we talked about reducing our expenses by limiting our frivolous spending, we should have at some point in our past collected the information that we needed to roll back on the non-essential spending so that we have more money to invest for savings and invest for emergencies and getting fired off of our jobs, so that the money that we have from our essential standard of living is covered on a regular basis. One of the things I've told you guys to do on the show plenty of times before is that if you put your extra money down on your revolving bills, if you put extra money down on your revolving bills, then you can pay your bills in advance. So while your money is not making any money sitting in a bank account, your money's not making any money advance paying on your utility bills. But if you're advance paying on your utility bills 6 months, 9 months, 12 months in advance, that's how many months you have before your next payment is due, which means that's how many months that you can be unemployed without having to worry about your bills not being covered. You can advance pay on your rent. As long as you're not up for renewal, you don't have to worry about any termination of contracts. And if it's an automatic renewal scenario, because you already advance paid, then you're likely to probably just have the increase happen, and then you only owe like $100 a month when the rent rolls over. The only thing you can't advance pay is the car note, because if you advance pay the car note, it's just going to take your money. You still owe money next month because it's such a large bill and it's pay as you go. They schedule a payment plan, but if you overpay the payment plan, that just reduces your total balance. It does not give you $0 payments for the upcoming months. So all of the car insurance, basic utility bills, and the rent are all bills that you can advance pay. And then there's a $0 balance on there until the billing cycle rolls over, or until the new installments, because your insurance is 6 months. Some people can get 1 year, but insurance is usually 6 months. So those are things that every time it renews, you've got to put extra money down on it. But until you do, it's paid in advance. It's paid in full. This guy says, I have a books on my shelf, looks for looks. Real Danish for looks, yes, but I read the once in a while just to see how dumb people were back then. Now I just have to open YouTube. Oh, well, that's good. Oh, I got you, Michael. I see your thing is in there. You said tightening down your financial waistline. Tightening your financial waistline. Yeah, no, I think you did it right the first time. Tightening down, because if you've been if you've been working on reducing your expenses to increase your wealth and minimize your debt, then you would have been tightening your financial waist already, but now you're tightening it down even further. So I think this is a better assessment, is tightening down your financial waistline, because you really want to make sure that you're not wasting whatever money you have left between your last paycheck and your next one. Next, you want to take stock of your resources. What's in your checking, your savings, your emergency fund? Write down these totals. Remember, we were doing these calculations on Tuesday when we were determining our financial worth, which was how much money, if you lost your job today, how long could you live off of the money and resources that you have right now? Some people, likely 4 to 8 months. Others, maybe far longer than that. I prefer to have a revolving door of income that's coming in regardless of whether or not I got a job or not, so that if I don't have a job, I'm still getting paid. They call that passive income. It might be residual income from a side hustle where you're grinding out on the job, and then after you stop working on that job, you're still getting paid. He said till Monday. Shee, that is not good. In this situation, now you have two critical figures: what you need to spend each month and what you have saved. Now divide your total savings by your essential monthly expenses, and that is the number you're running away with. It might be 3 months, it might be 6 months, it might be 1 month, it might be Tuesday, it might be your next payday. Doesn't matter what the number is today. What matters is that you know it. You've replaced terrifying fear with concrete math problems. Now we can strategize. Second part of the audit, your exit package. You were likely given a packet of documents, including a severance agreement, if you have a good job. Otherwise, they just took you off the schedule, told you to take your ass home, and you went home. And if you were smart, the first thing you did was call the unemployment office. If you were not smart, the second thing you did was call the unemployment office after a friend of yours said, bro, you qualify for unemployment compensation. Fuck, let me go fill that information out. Right? Now, if you're on one of those big businesses that offer severance agreements, do not sign anything immediately. Because once you sign it, whether you agree with it or not, I've had, like, I know everybody's experienced this at some point in their life. You've been written up on your job. He said, I am 39 and retired thanks to America. Special shout out to Danny. Hey, I don't know if you was part of the forced retirement this year. A lot of people lost their jobs. I can tell you every Wednesday we talk about a different country you can move to with your retirement money and live better than in America at 30% of America, 30% of the cost of being in America. So if you got $2,500, you get out there, like $300 for the passport, and then like $2,200 for the plane ticket, send you to some place over in Middle East, Middle East in the world, one of those countries over there. And yeah, at like $600-800 a year, $600 or $800 a month, like around $8,500 to $12,000 a year. And you be living good out there, as opposed to, $40,000-50,000 a year here in America. Your money go a whole lot further. Real talk. If you got 12 months worth of stay in America money, you could flip the script and do like two to 5 years in Japan or some shit. He said, I would chew my hand off before considering living in America. I wouldn't chew my hand off. But I definitely wouldn't want to take all that debt. But what I was about to say, a lot of us have been in a situation where we had a job and they wrote us up for some bullshit. We didn't agree with it, but we were pressured by the boss to sign it. And I'm like, no, refuse to sign. refuse to sign, because if you sign it, you agree to it, even if it's not true. If you sign it, you agree to it. So it's better to not sign anything. So at least not at first. You often have a legally protected period to review it. Sometimes it's up to 21 days. So use that time period. This isn't a scenario where you're going to discuss it right now. This is a time period where they're going to tell you that you're fired. They're taking you off the schedule. Your termination is guaranteed, but how much you're going to get for your termination has not yet been decided. Once you sign that paper, that's when it's decided. So the day they tell you that you're fired, the old-fashioned pink slip used to be a termination letter that included all of what you were supposed to be getting written on a pink piece of paper. They don't do that no more. Everything's on white paper. I feel like as a big boss that I would legit do that. I would have for some idiotic reason spend extra money on, listen to me now, pink paper, so that every now and again I can print out something on a pink piece of paper and hand it to somebody and have them leave the room so that everybody else in the room freaks out about it, like, oh shit, he's handing out pink slips. And it might just be like, run and go make me a cup of coffee just to stir things up. He said, I'm paid $3,500 and I can work all I want next to it. Fought in Afghanistan. I have PTSD and got pension. Woo! You don't have to do nothing. If they're paying you $3,500 a month, all you got to do is just stay at home. But because you're getting benefits from the government, so that's not limiting the rest of the money that you get. Some soldiers getting like $10,000 depending on how many years that they put in the service. They're getting $10,000 a month, and they can get a house with zero down and full service and all this other stuff. But the thing is that a lot of that money that you're getting off of your pension is going towards your therapy for your PTSD and then the medication and other such to help you stay stable. So while you balling, in comparison to some people, because you don't have to work to get that $3,500, the lifestyle that you want probably costs more than $3,500. So you still got to go work a full-time job after you've already worked a full-time job serving your country, which makes no sense, because while football players get paid millions of dollars to catch a fucking ball, you put your life on the line for 4 to 10 years and you're getting $3,500 a month, and these bastards are getting $100,000 a week. I don't understand it. I don't believe that they should be overly prioritizing entertainment like that, where celebrities are making millions of dollars and soldiers are making pennies on a dollar. Because your life is more valuable than their acting career, in my personal opinion. I believe that every soldier should have $1 million pension on them, because their life is more valuable than the entertainment that we get. So many people, we don't even know who they are, and their lives are destroyed so that we can be dicks in America to one another. And for some reason, the most we can do is see somebody wearing camouflage and say, thank you for your service. That's all we can do. Thank you for the trauma that you've endured. Thank you for those sleepless nights. Thank you for the painkillers you have to take, for taking that shrapnel in the wrong place, taking that bullet in the wrong place, surviving an explosion where everybody died but you. Really appreciate that. That's all we can say. Or we can spend hundreds of dollars high-fiving the guy next to the guy who's next to LeBron James, because LeBron James don't do autographs. Makes no damn sense. He says, yeah, in Denmark doesn't work like that. I can lean back and do nothing. The work I do is just fun and games and extra money. That's sweet. You ain't getting that in America. In America, you're going to be pissed off. I'm going to have to cover Denmark one day, because I haven't talked about how good it is to live in Denmark. But when we start looking at the severance package, you want to see what they've got going on for you. The most obvious part is the severance paid, how much they're going to be giving you. The comma formula is 1 to 2 weeks of pay for every year of service, right? But this is highly variable and often negotiable. Look at the offer. Does it feel fair? You can negotiate your termination package. Next is going to be the health insurance. This is critical. They're required to offer you COBRA, which is, this is going to let you continue your own current plan, but you'll have to pay for the full, often shocking premiums. But they should be able to let you go ahead and get your own benefits. So see if they're offering to help pay for your COBRA for a few months. This is a hugely valuable and negotiable benefit, right? Look for unused vacation or PTO time. In many places, companies are legally required to pay this out. So if you have PTO time that wasn't cashed out, vacation time that wasn't cashed out, sick days that wasn't cashed out, your Medicare, he's asking about Medicare. If you got health insurance, you don't need Medicare because you're fired from your job. Medicare typically works towards individuals that don't necessarily have a job. But if your job does provide you with Medicare, then they better be paying for it. And if they're paying for it, you want to see how many months they're going to pay for it before they cut you off. And you want to make sure that any of your PTO time is accurately accounted for. What about bonuses or commissions? If you were let go right before a bonus was due, you might be able to negotiate for a prorated payment of that. Finally, and all of these negotiations is the reason why you're not supposed to talk shit about your boss when they fire you. If they fire you, just walk out the door. If they want to start talking about this pension thing, it's like, I understand you're firing me. Let's talk about this tomorrow. I'll come back in, or let's talk about this later this week. I'll come back in and respectfully talk about my severance package. But as it stands for today, since I'm being fired, I can take a personal day or a personal couple days, and then you and I can revisit my severance, right? Because you don't have this job anymore. So I can go home, mow this over for a couple days, and then come back and be capable of talking about the ins and outs of how my termination looks. That is the best way to do it. Oh, he said healthcare is free in Denmark. And if it wasn't, my parents would be broke. I spent half my youth in the emergency room. Shoo. I only went to the doctor when I had broken bones. Check with HR at your existing benefits. Yeah, well, you're supposed to. Yeah, you're right. You should be checking with HR on a regular basis about your existing benefits, and you're supposed to stay on top of that throughout your employment. So the day that they tell you you don't have no job, usually if this is not an abrupt termination where the boss is firing everybody on his floor on principle, usually you know that based on your job performance or something you said or done on the job recently led to some kind of alleged investigation, and likely the results of that will be your termination. So knowing that you're supposed to start cashing out on all of your stocks, cashing out on all of your PTO time, just really shutting down everything so that when they do get to your name on whatever bullshit they about to pull out, that they're going to give you whatever you got left. He said you may be fully invested, but can't get the benefits until age 65. That sucks. That sucks. I tell myself, and I started telling everybody else, that you do not want to be fully invested in anything internally utilized by the company. You don't want to marry to company stocks that you can't keep after your job is over. You don't want to stay married to company benefits that you can't keep after your job is over, because any money that is fully invested into the company, certain contracts dictate that upon termination, You forfeit means give back without a refund all of that benefit. So no, you're not taking money out of my check for the company stock, because if you fire me, you keep the stocks that I paid for. No. If I can keep the company stocks after you fire me, that's fine. Yeah, I'll buy into it. But if I can't keep the company stocks when I'm out of the company, no, I don't want it. Finally, look at your restrictive clauses. Are they asking you to sign a non-compete that limits where you can work next? Because that's a big deal. Is there a non-disparagement clause, meaning that you can't talk bad about the company once you leave the company? Often these are one-sided. You can and should negotiate it for a mutually protected reputation, meaning that they can't talk to anybody about you and they can't say anything negative about you either. So if anybody asks you about this company, this is the best place to work next to Disney World. If anybody talks about you, he's the best employee to work with. That prevents them from damaging your reputation. If any of this feels complex, consider a brief consultation with an employment lawyer, because they have those out there. And maybe find one that offers free initial consultations, and their advice could save you thousands of dollars. Remember, the first offer is rarely the final offer. And a lot of times, if they're discussing your termination, they might allow you to keep working for the company until they finalize the termination. Now, Danny said free healthcare and free schools are great. I speak your language because of free school, and I speak 4 more. You know, America is probably the only language that really only presses you to have a second language, and that second language is ironically Spanish by default, even though America is chucking out all the Spanish people right now. It's crazy. Everywhere else, people know like 3, 5, 7 languages. And America, we know slang and improper English. And if we know Spanish, we know 3 languages. It's crazy. That's usually government contracts. You're talking about the government contracts. Where's Wilbur? Well, yeah, I cover everything when I'm talking about when you're getting fired, because you got some bad jobs that don't do any of this, and then you got some better jobs that does some of this, and then you got the best jobs that do all of this. And that's one of the so people who got, the CIA got fired, the FBI got fired, so many government agents got fired this year. Then the people in the liquor companies got fired. The people in automotives was getting fired. The construction workers, they're being abducted. So everybody's losing their jobs. So the better your job is, the more negotiations you can have when you get fired, because they're going to come to you with respect. The disrespect if you gone, but the respect of, let's talk about how you go. Like Trump fired everybody. The buyout, everybody was fired, right? But the buyout is that you sold your job back to the job, and they paid you about 8 months worth of benefits and sent you home, and to never return again. Clearance denied. Your ass got fired. But the official way to put that was you got bought out of your job. He speaks Danish, Siberian, English, Norwegian, and Sweden. Wow. That's fantastic. Now, the third and final piece of today's audit, just the audit part, because we got a lot of other things to cover, is filing for the unemployment insurance if you haven't already done so. This is not a handout. It's an insurance program that you've paid into with every paycheck. It exists for this exact situation. So you got to go to your State Department of Labor Board website as soon as you can. And the process can be slow, and there's often a waiting period of 3 to 6 weeks. But the sooner you start, the better it is for you. typically in most situations, they offer you about 6 to 12 months worth of compensation to give you almost a year off from work before you go back into another job, and it stops paying you once you find another job. So if you're not in a hurry, you can enjoy a mini retirement. By the end of day 2, you'll have a clear picture of your financial runaway, a full understanding of your existing package, and you'll have started the process of securing your unemployment. Now, the fear won't be gone, but it will be contained. You've built a foundation of facts, and now we can start building your future. You've weathered day 1's emotional storm and organized the facts on day 2. Now on day 3, we turn inward, and this is reflection day. And it's arguably the most important day for your long-term success. Michael says the best job to have is ownership, followed by managers, then workers. I prefer to be the owner. He's dang right about that. Definitely like that. Oh, no, that's communism. No, communism is sharing resources, regardless of how much or how little somebody has contributed to the acquisition of those resources. That's communism. Communism typically comes from a hierarchy where the government issues all of the resources to the population. We see it more often in a monarchy, but in a democratic republic, communism would be a lot more fluid because everybody would try to share with everybody to prevent from not having enough for themselves, which, if it's a revolving door of people who are in it for themselves and then they have to make sure that everybody else gets some, you're going to see more sharing and less bogarting. But with like 1% of the population holding 99% of the wealth, more people are going to push for capitalism, because that would require the top 1% to share their billions with the rest of the population. If they did, the rest of the population would all be millionaires, because the 365,000 Americans in America, and you divide 4 billion from Trump and 4 billion from Musk, and that's just 2 people amongst the 300 something thousand Americans. Each person would have $2 to $5 million in America, each person, if you just divide it up to 2 billionaires. So think about that for a minute. Communism don't sound that bad of an idea, huh? You know, Star Trek was communism, right? We talked about this on the show before. Everybody has their own room. They don't have to worry about anybody stealing their stuff because everybody's got the same stuff, standard issue. And then you get up and go to work. When it's time to get up and go to work, you go back to your quarters when it's done. You go to the cafeteria. You don't have to pay for nothing. You get everything for free. Anything you need is for free. Your uniforms, your outside of work clothes, everything is free. You don't have any money on Star Trek. Your ship gets paid for, everything. Special shout out to Noah Chef. It's been a long time since he's been here before. I really appreciate you coming back, my friend. Life is better from the top. It is. It is. You can't fire me because I'm the boss. Oh, no worries, Danny. I don't hold no negative feelings towards you, buddy. So many people skip this next step in a panic to start applying for jobs, and that is a massive mistake. It's like running out of burning building straight into the next one you see without checking if it's also on fire. Pretty good metaphor. Today is about day 3 is about asking the tough questions that will guide your search. This isn't about blame. It's about learning. Think of yourself as a detective investigating your last job. He said, I live in a socialist, monarchist, monetary society. Almost sounds like us. First, let's conduct a job autopsy. Grab a notebook, create 2 columns again. What I loved and what I hated. Be specific. Loved the team projects, but hated the bureaucracy. Loved monitoring junior staff, but hated the sales quotas. Loved working from home, but hated the lack of direction. List everything. This will help you identify the ingredients of a work environment where you can thrive versus one that drains you. Next, list your biggest accomplishments in the role. What are you most proud of? Do you lead a project that comes in under budget? Do you streamline a process that saves time? For each one, ask, what skills did you use to make it happen? This does 2 things. It starts rebuilding your confidence, and it gives you the core content for your new resume. Finally, you want to ask one more tough question. What were the red flags I ignored? Was the job description totally different from the reality? Was there high turnovers on the team? Did you have a gut feeling during the interview that something was off? Recognizing these signs isn't about kicking yourself. It's about training yourself and your intuition so you can spot them a mile away next time, which would allow you to say no to certain jobs that aren't beneficial to you. Now let's shift from looking back to looking forward. The second part of today is the dream job brainstorm. No limits, no buts, and no I can't. I'm going to tell you guys real quick. You should take I can't out of your vocabulary, because you can do whatever you want to do in life outside of people who have more control over your situation than you do when they dictate terms. So it is not that I can't. I can, but that person is in my way. Or I can, but I don't want to. It's never I can't. Got to think about that. Is that we have a king, we love him, but we are a socialist society, and I love to help my fellow man to live. I'm all in for helping each other. Yeah, our king is Donald Trump right now. We're waiting on Elon Musk, the Robin Hood of wealth, to But remember, when you're brainstorming, it is just pure, unfiltered brainstorming. Ask yourself, if money and location weren't an issue, what would I do? What problems do I want to solve? What topics do I read about for fun? What kind of impact do I want to make? Think about the culture you want and fast-paced startup. That's one of the things you want to think about. A fast-paced startup or a stable corporation. A hybrid model, or are you better in office or fully remote? I prefer fully remote. What are your non-negotiable values? More and more workers are prioritizing things like companies' commitment to diversity and inclusion or workplace flexibility. Now, you already seen how Donald Trump got rid of diversity and inclusion. Oh yeah, when you make the when you're analyzing this, you want to make sure that you write all of this stuff down, because this is going to help you decide what you're going to do, and then you're going to narrow the list. So he knows, he's following along with the process. Now, for you, maybe it's work-life balance, the ability to disconnect at 5 p.m. without guilt. Maybe it's a place that invests in professional development. Make sure that you write down your top 3, and these are going to be your guardrails. Now, the final exercise is a skill inventory. This is a full audit of your capabilities. You should update these things on your resumes every year or every 6 months, just in case something like this is about to happen. You already have your resume created. But create 2 more lists: hard skills and soft skills. Hard skills are your teachable technical abilities. You want to make sure that you list every piece of software you know, any programming languages, and any other technical skills like data analyst or project manager. Your soft skills are your interpersonal attributes, things like communication, leadership, problem solving, and adaptability. Don't just list them. Think of a concrete example of each one. You don't have just communication skills. You successfully presented a complex project proposal to executives, securing their buy-in. There's a big difference. He said, what page are we on? 42 of 100. I curated a whole script for this. I wanted to make sure that you had all the information that you need to be successful. Yeah, see what page are we on? By the end of day 3, you'll have a blueprint of your professional self. You'll have clarity on what to avoid, a vision for what to seek, and a powerful inventory of the value you bring. This reflection is the antidote to the desperate, I'll take anything mindset. So you're no longer just a job seeker, you're a skilled professional on a mission. Tomorrow, after day 3, you build your armor. So if day 3 was about looking inward, day 4 is about looking outward. And your outward presentation is the key. This is going to be the day where we're going to talk about the insight and forge into the tools you'll use to land your next role. This is preparation day. How you doing, Sumo? He said, hey, man. Hey, my man. Good to see you. Our mission on day 4 is to overhaul your resume and transform your LinkedIn profile into a compelling marketing tool. Since you don't have to go to work on day 4, you got plenty of time to make this work. So you want to let's start with the resume, because the resume gets uploaded to LinkedIn. Banish the thought of just updating it. We're doing a complete tear down and rebuild. You should have been updating it already, but now you're going to be rebuilding it. In today's job market, a generic one-size-fits-all resume is a one-way ticket to the trash. Why? Because an applicant tracking system, or ATS, is not going to be in your favor. Research shows a huge number of qualified applicants are rejected by these automated systems before a human ever sees their resume. The ATS isn't looking for fancy designs. It's scanning for keywords that match the job description. Your job is to give it what it wants. Here's the strategy. First, create a master resume, and that's the one that we're supposed to update on a regular basis. This is a long, detailed document for your eyes only. It should contain every job, project, accomplishment, skill, award, recommendation, accommodation, everything under the sun from your inventory. This is your personal career database. Now, for every single job you've applied for, you will create a custom 1 to 2 page resume by pulling the most relevant information from your master resume. This is non-negotiable. To do this, print the job description with a highlighter. Mark every key skill, responsibility, and qualification that matches that job description. These are your keywords. Your tailored resume must include them. Next, reframe your experience. Most resumes are a list of duties. Don't do that. Companies hire you for what you achieve, not what you do. Every bullet point should be a quantified accomplishment, meaning that you should be able to attach a dollar figure as to how much it paid the paid the company, or how much it allowed the company to save. No matter how your accomplishment works, it puts money into the company's pocket. That's how it has to be framed. You want to use the STARS method. STARS method is going to be situations, tasks, actions, and results. And we're going to go through each one of those briefly. Is it time to prepare to seek employment? 20 by 20 cardboard, big bid. Right? I will work for money. Find the nearest Walmart corner. Walmart will hire you, bro, unless Walmart is the place you just got fired from. Think about that. Now, briefly, set in context, faced a 15% decline in customer retention, right? Task, what was your goal? You're tasked with developing a new client onboarding program. Actions, what do? Analyze feedback, redesign the workflow, and implemented a personalized check-in system. The results, what was the outcome? Use your numbers, which increased customer retention by 25% in 6 months and boosted positive review by 40%. That sounds so much better. Numbers are proof. They show your value. We talked about this on Wednesday. Well, we talked about this on Thursday, and we talked about it again on Tuesday. Being able to show your value through numbers is very important. Instead of responsible for social media, say grew organic social media engagement by 150% in 1 year, driving a 20% increase in web traffic. Big difference. Now let's move to your LinkedIn transformation. Your LinkedIn profile isn't just an online resume, it's your professional storefront and your personal brand platform. Start with your headline: unemployed or seeking new opportunities. This is a waste of valuable real estate on your headline. Your headline should be a powerful statement of who you are and what you do. For example, senior project manager, a PMP certified, driving agile transformation in tech. That's pretty good headliner. Or content marketing strategist, specializing in B2B SaaS, turning complex ideas into compelling stories. Make it keyword rich and forward looking. Next, your about section. Tell your professional story here. Don't just list skills, weave them into a narrative. Start with a powerful statement about what you're passionate about in your field. Touch on key accomplishments. End with a clear statement about what you're looking for next. Write in the first person. Make it authentic. Review your skills and endorse your skill set. Make sure that the skills and endorsement section is ratified. You can list up to 50 skills, but you can pin your top 3 and make sure those 3 perfectly align with the jobs you've targeting, the ones you're about to go apply for. This is critical for how you show up in recruiter searches. Yes, Michael's right. You are selling yourself in that particular situation. Finally, the open to work scenario. You can make it public with the green banner or visible only to recruiters. For this first week, I recommend using the recruiters only setting. It signals your availability to the people who matter most without looking desperate to your entire network. And you can always change it later. It said, why me over Joe Blow? I have more skills. List them. Well, actually, that is the truest thing. I've actually had a job come and ask me, well, why should I hire you? And my response to them was, because I'm that damn good. That's why. You know? And I was able to prove it because I'm that damn good. It's up to you if you hire me. You don't have to hire me. I don't give a fuck. I saw the ad. I thought this was a good place to swing by. I walked up. Now, you shouldn't talk to your boss this way or your future boss this way, but that's how I talk to my boss. And I got the job. But I explained to him, like, I seen it. I thought that this was going to be a benefit to me. I want, whether you hire me or not, it's up to you. I'm going to work somewhere. But out of all the other people in this room, why should you hire me? Because I'm that damn good. And what they were going to hire me for, I pay other people to do for me now. Very interesting. I love that. Okay, so we've just covered a massive amount of ground, and I know it can feel overwhelming. You're basically being asked to become a marketer and a brand strategist overnight. And if you're feeling that pressure, I want to help you. I've spent hundreds of hours refining what makes a resume and LinkedIn profile actually work in this market. To make it easier for you, I've put all of these strategies and templates into a job search kit, and you'll be able to see that with an ATS-friendly resume template and detailed LinkedIn checklist and guides to writing those powerful quantified accomplishments in the membership. So if you guys ever decide to tiptoe into the membership, you'll start seeing a lot of information about a lot of these things. So you don't have to figure out all of this stuff alone. If you want a proven toolkit, take the guesswork out of the critical steps. Make sure you go and check out the membership. It's an investment into yourself that will pay off when you land that first interview. But don't let a bad document be the reason you get overlooked. Make sure that you take a look at what we've got going on. Oh, and like he said, like Michael said, remember to like and subscribe. Tap that like button. Tap those reaction buttons, y'all. Now, back to our 7-day plan. With your tools sharp, it's time to move on to the single most effective job search strategy there is. Welcome to day 5. He said, happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. He's on his way out. I really appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming through. I don't think I have that much to go. We are 60% of the way done. So we're almost done. I should be done within the next half hour. So you've done your internal work and prepared your materials. Now it is time to achieve the most powerful force in any job search, your network. Now, I know for many people, the words networking brings up images of awkward transactional conversations. Erase that image from your mind. In 2025, networking isn't about begging for a job. It's about building relationships and gathering information. And here's a fact that should make you pay attention. Referrals are the single most effective way to get hired. While hundreds of people are clicking apply on a job and disappearing into the black hole, the successful candidates are very often the ones who came through a personal connection. Your network isn't a safety net, it's a super highway if you've got a good one. Is that PS, who do I get to fire next? That's how the owner is going to react. You got to do Russian roulette. You got to spin the wheel like Eric Bischoff, and whoever's name it lands on is fired today. So how do you do it? Especially when you feel vulnerable. First, mindset shift. You are not asking for handouts. You are a skilled professional on the fact-finding mission. You are seeking advice on conversation, not the job offer. this reframe is critical. It changes your energy from desperate to curious. He said, you're all fired. Well, there's a few hundred people here tonight. So, I mean, you can't fire everybody at the same time. Nobody will work for you. Now, today's plan is to reach out to your network in strategic tiers. Tier 1 is going to be your inner circle. Closest formal colleagues. You want to make sure that your managers that you have a great relationship with, mentors, these are the people that you can be the most direct with. Send them a personal note. Hi, my name is, I'm reaching out with some news. My time at whatever company has ended as my role was eliminated. I'm still processing, but I'm starting to think about what's next. I've always valued your perspective, and I was hoping I could get advice for 15 to 20 minutes next week. I'm not asking for a job, just some guidance as I figure this out. This approach is honest, respectful, and has clear, low-pressure asks. Tier 2, your wider professional network, people you know from past jobs or industry events, but maybe don't know as well. The goal here is purely informational. You want to learn about their companies and industries and whatever trends they've got going on. Your outreach should focus on their expertise. Hi, whatever your name is, hope you're well. I'm currently exploring new opportunities in whatever your industry is and was really impressed by the work whatever your company is doing. As you're on the inside, I was wondering if you might have 15 minutes to share your experience about the company culture. Any insight would be incredibly helpful, and it'll be incredibly helpful for my search. Now, notice you're not saying you were fired, right? You tell your inner circle that. You're not so inner circle, you're not telling them that. You don't need to. You're a professional gathering intelligence. People generally love to feel like an expert. So you're giving them that chance. Tier 3 is aspirational contacts. People you don't know, but would like to know. Leaders at companies you admire or experts in your field. Cold outreach is tough though, so warm it up first. Follow them on LinkedIn, engage thoughtfully with their posts for a week or two, then send a connection request with a personalized note. Hi, my name is, I've been following your work on whatever topic and was inspired by your recent post. I'm whatever your title is, also passionate about this space and would be honored to connect and learn from you. The most powerful tool here in your arsenal is informational interview, a brief 20 to 30 minute chat where you ask for advice. Your goal isn't to get a job here, but to leave that person so impressed with your curiosity and professionalism that they become your champion inside that company. He says, do I have connections in international trade? I need oil. Well, hold on. He said, how do I make $1 billion business? Well, in order for you to make $1 billion business, the first step you got to do is start by finding a need, finding a niche market that has a need that does not have a satisfactory supply, and then make that supply. That's like the best way to get it done. Do I have connections in international trades because you need oil? I do not trade in oil. I actually work in real estate. But you should invest in oil. Well, if you need oil contracts, there was a few oil companies that were offering blue chip contracts for individuals that were basically financially intelligent. So if you've been curated by them, if you've been vetted, they will put you onto their platform. I mean, if you want more information about some of the oil companies that are looking for investors, then by all means send me some messages in the membership, and then that'll hold you down. I'll be able to get you the information for that. He said, I do oil and gas and I have buyers. Oh, you're trying to buy barrels of oil. Yeah, I can't help you there, buddy. We do stock options. Now, prepare for these calls. You want to reach their careers and have smart questions ready. What do you enjoy most about working at whatever company that you work at? What are the biggest challenges your team is facing right now? What skills do you see as most critical for success in this field over the next few years? And the magic question at the end, based on our conversation, is there anyone else you think it would be helpful for me to talk to, which could lead them to talking you to some of the hiring managers. Now, by the end of day 5, you'll have planted seeds. He said, I'm Arabic, brother. Well, congratulations. I love Iran and Russia. Okay. I don't see a problem with any country anywhere in the world. So, you just can't go to Iran and then fly to Israel or vice versa. That's something you just got to remember until things settle down. Now, since you've planted your seeds, not all of them will sprout, but some will grow into opportunities you'd never find on a job board, specifically because you were talking to other people about jobs and getting advice on other job opportunities. They will come to know who you are, find out how amazing you are, or at least how you pretended to be in that discussion. And then they will recommend you to whoever's hiring. So these individuals are going to back you in the conversation. Now, you've spent 5 days processing, auditing, reflecting, preparing, and networking. You're building momentum. On day 6, this is about adding fuel to the fire. This is the learning day. The goal is to productively invest in yourself and bridge the gap between the skills you have and the skills the market demands. Learning does 2 critical things during a job search. First, it gives you a sense of progress and control when everything feels passive. Second, it gives you new, exciting things to talk about in interviews. It shows your forward thinking and adaptability. First, identifying the gap. Go back to your work from day 3 and 5. Look at the description for roles that excite you and what skills or technologies that are listed over and over again. What did your informational interviews reveal about where the industry is going? The market is telling you what it wants. And now let's take about 800 pounds of gorilla in the room with artificial intelligence. In 2025, AI isn't just a niche skill anymore. There has been a jaw-dropping surge in job postings that AI mentioned. And the vast majority of hiring managers now see AI-related skills as a top priority. Oh, hold on. Special shout out to Forgive Them. I got to tell you, every now and again, we get a troll. And when it happens, we've got to take something. We got to do something about it. Now, when it comes to AI, this doesn't mean you need to become a machine learning engineer. It means you need to develop AI literacy. I appreciate it, brother. Once I noticed that, because I was going deep into the meat and potatoes of this situation, and then I noticed that he was like really throwing some stupid stuff up there. And I did say before that once I start catching on to some really ridiculous comments that are completely off to the left, I start getting rid of them. He didn't quite go too far into hate speech, but it was getting a little bit annoying. So I'm glad you were able to call that out. So I appreciate that. Forgive them. That was really good. Is it, why are you in a suit? Why are you not in a suit? You're asking me, why am I in a suit? All I own are suits, my guy. So I don't know how that applies. Oh, you're welcome. Don't worry, it looks like Johnny Dillman is coming in to follow from the other guy. It happens. This is the time of night where trolls start diving in and making themselves known. Well, people without that knowledge wouldn't know that. But yes, suits are for professionals. Social media has more people wearing street clothes and carrying themselves inappropriately with dialogue that is not fitting for professionals. They're clearly part of the working class, but because social media content is amateur created, it doesn't have to be pro status. They don't have a $500,000 a month PR team helping them with it. But the fact is that, you know, people, the Western culture has forgotten what suits look like. They only see suits with lawyers and convicts, pimps, and church people. That's pretty much it. So since they're not familiar with suits, the average everyday person doesn't own a suit, much less wears one, besides weddings and funerals. So when they see a guy in a suit on a regular basis, they're not used to it, and they ask a lot of questions because they don't have the professionalism in them to, you know, understand that I'm over here talking about money, I'm talking about business, I'm talking about, you know, finance, I'm talking about professionalism, and I'm talking about it in a suit. Most podcasts where people are talking about success specifically, they're doing it in some kind of suit. A real estate entrepreneur, tycoon, even, you're gonna see him with a white shirt, buttons open, top 3 buttons open, blazer, probably blue, probably sky blue, teal blue, light blue, something kind of blue, and they're gonna be sitting there looking sharp in their suit. That's just how it is. I appreciate your information, and the attire is refreshing. I really appreciate that, man. John Dillman is Danish childrenish show about a guy with a big wow. This guy is making himself known. So, truth be told, most people should want to wear a suit. They should have at least 3 suits in their closet and 3 more pairs of dress pants and some button-down shirts so that they can be dress casual on Friday and Saturday. They've got a suit for Sunday, and they can wear suits Monday through Thursday. You know, there's the ability when you're off the clock to have comfortable clothes around the house when you're not in your bed clothes that are supposed to only be worn when you're going to bed. But I mean, people are wearing their underwear to Walmart, so I mean, they don't really, you know, people just forgot. People, a suit is just for a guy who needs to do, I don't even know what. Yeah, work hard. That's what people in suits do. No, the headset is not that big. The headset is not that big. I actually got another one coming in. Brandon, I got another one coming in, and it should be here by Friday of next week. And I will be trying to queue that one up and see how well it works. But it should give me a seemingly invisible headset going forward. Donnie MG, surely not a doctor. I work with physicians and they are either in scrubs or suits, at least a sport coat, little nerd. I know that. So like they'll have like a collar shirt or something like that on, and then they'll have a blazer, they'll have their slacks, something like that. Very few individuals that are professional leave their house without some kind of dress casual situation. Can you shout my brother? No, I cannot. You're playing too much, Brandon. Don't nobody kid name got that name. So let's go ahead and tiptoe out of here real quick. It'll take you a little time out, buddy. Okay, so like I said, you don't have to become a machine engineer. You just need to develop AI literacy. So can you use tools like ChatGPT or Gemini to brainstorm ideas or summarize documents? Outside of ChatGPT, there's also others such as Perplexity or Siri can help you out. There are some other advanced AI tools that you can use. And if you list these on your resume, that would help. Do you know how to write effective prompts? Understand how to leverage these tools to be more productive is going to be quickly becoming a baseline expectation. I actually use AI tools to develop the script for today's show. So 100 pages were written in less than 20 minutes while I was making coffee. Okay, let's see. He said, wearing a suit here, unless you're going on a funeral, people here will look down on you. If you go to a job interview in a suit, you won't get a job. Americans are weird. Forgive them. Yeah, maybe in America. I guess America people, that's like the first time you see somebody wear like a tie with a button-down shirt and some slacks is going to a job interview. They don't quite wear the blazer. They're so uncomfortable with wearing a blazer because they don't own one. They've never worn one before, so they don't really know how to wear a blazer. And then they don't buy the one that fits. So that's another thing. Now, beyond the AIs, what else is in demand for your field? Skills in data analysts with tools like SQL and Python remain incredibly valuable. Project management methods like Agile are highly sought after. Depending on your industry, specialized areas like cloud computing, cybersecurity, and digital marketing are booming right now. Your job is to pick one or two skills that are both in demand and genuinely interesting to you. Then you want to focus on those. Once you have your targets, explore avenues for learning them. You don't have to spend a fortune. YouTube, you got to understand, you're here now. It has tutorials on almost everything. Right now, I'm telling you how to bounce back off of losing your job. They have places like Coursera and edX, top universities that offer free courses. You can audit them to get all the lecture videos and materials that you need. HubSpot Academy, where you can Google Digital Garage, Microsoft Learn. These companies offer free, high-quality certifications in marketing, analytics, AI, and more. A certification on your LinkedIn profile is a tangible signal to recruiters. What are your thoughts on complete AI scripts, productions, etc.? People are almost hype sensitive to it. AI is taking over, hands down. I actually do a full auto script. I proofread it, but I do a full auto script specifically because I am generating a new script almost 100 pages every day, 365 days a year. I can't think of do you understand 100 pages, 300 days a year? That's 300,000 pages. That's like the whole Harry Potter collection. So when you think about how I'm generating a different script for every show, I'm researching all of the information that goes into it, and then I'm organizing it. And I have to do this in an expedited fashion so that I can produce the show, do all the SEOs for the show, promote the show, then present the show. And then I got other contracts and other things that I got to do after the show in the next 45 minutes. The fact is that AI makes my job easier. Instead of it taking me 2 hours to put this script together or bullet point the scenario, I can actually come through with a more structured approach to presenting the information, which is actually more pleasant to the fans. Now, likewise, depending on the type of structure that you're working on, AI scripts can allow you to gather all of the details and then put it into an AI machine that can organize the details and format it for whatever you're using that information for, which makes that particular type of presentation, whether them reading it or you speaking it, is more accepted by the reader. So I think that AI scripts are actually a pretty good thing. It's not supposed to replace your effort. You can tell when somebody just asks it to generate a question versus them feeding it detailed information and then asking them to formulate a statement based on this detailed information. If that helps. I know a lot of people are a little bit nervous about the machines, but the machines are taking over. Tesla just released like 5 different models of robot, and 3 of them looks like the next generation of law enforcement. Make sure that y'all like and subscribe as y'all fly through here. And I do understand I run into issues with hiring when the board has to make a decision. Without fail, someone pushes back with, is this them or AI generated? That helps. Well, my question is, do they care if the resume was AI generated? Because truth is, when it comes down to hiring new people, there's supposed to be a probation phase where you put them to the test. You put them on a job, you see how much of it they can do versus how much of it you have to show them. You pay them for being there. And if they show promise, you keep them. If not, you let them go. I've hired employees that spent more time on their cell phone than doing a job on the first day of the job. By the end of the job, I was like, thank you, I really appreciate it. I paid them for the week. They thought they were coming back to work tomorrow. I was like, nope. Nope. We didn't even get your contract signed, bro. I paid you. I gave you training pay, and I gave you lovely training pay, matter of fact, and then I sent you on your way. Now you sitting over here like, shit, I could have had a damn good job. You sure could have. Sure could have, but you threw that away. So most companies that are using AI curated search engines where they're picking resumes based off of an AI keyword search database. If employers are using AI, there's nothing wrong with employees using AI, scripted AI that is focused on being selected by the recruiter. Because once it hits the internet, you have billions of people around the world that could potentially qualify for that resume. The AI is going to determine which applications qualify, and out of the qualifying applications, which one of them are within the range of in-person employment. Those are going to be sent to the recruiting office, The recruiting office is going to take this list of names and phone numbers and cold call people and ask them, are you still looking for a job? So the person that's in the interview received a cold call from a warm lead, and they're showing up to see what you guys got to offer. Anybody in the boardroom that's giving you shit about the AI thing, they need to quit their job, because everything is going to be AI soon. Most things are AI. They want it to be authentic. Okay. Authentic worked back in the 90s. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're writing a resume finely tuned specifically for the job that you're applying to, most people who are unemployed these days apply to 20, 30 more jobs before they get hired. I am not going to fine tune 20 or 30 different resumes. I would make one standard issue generic resume and attach it to everything. So when they want authentic, what you're trying to find authentic in the interview, you're not trying to find authentic on a resume. He said, this is after 100 or more resumes, and the whittling down to interviews, you're whittling it down to interviews, and it's so frustrating that I spend the whole time convincing them to bring the candidate in. They and we as a company use AI. It's such a contradiction and so frustrating. The fact is that if they're tired of looking at applications, they should just go on vacation. That way they're not interfering with your ability to bring in the candidates. The whole purpose of the AI is to find, this is the funny part, whether it's genuine or not, the AI is going to find a bunch of applications that meets the same criteria, because it's an automated system. So all of the applications are going to look about the same. And since the applications are going to be printed from offline, it is going to be in the same format, whatever the format was of the platform. So you're not going to get like you would have got in person if you had an autistic person that was applying for the job. They send you a job resume on a different color piece of paper with a different font size, maybe have some accents wrapped around the application looking like a menu or some shit, like creativity going into the design of the resume to make you say, wow, this resume looks different than the other resumes. They put a lot of work into the presentation of their resume, regardless of what the details are in the resume. That doesn't happen from online applications. Some websites don't even allow you to put your resume on there. You have to fill in the box. And then they might let you upload a PDF file after the fact if it's a limited file size. So your boy being a dick about, oh, all the resumes look the same. Well, then change the damn algorithm on the website so that it stops looking for similar resumes. That's what you do to fix it. Now, podcasts and blogs, you want to find the thought leaders in your space and consume their content to stay on the cutting edge. Just like being here at this platform where you're learning all the information. If you have some funds, consider a specific certification or subscription to a platform like LinkedIn Learning. And the key is to commit, dedicate even just 1 hour a day to the learning. By the end of day 6, you will have a clear learning plan where you'll be enrolled in courses or halfway through a tutorial where you're no longer just a professional with a history of accomplishments. You're a professional who is actively building your future value. And this proactive stance is incredibly empowering. The next day, we'll be bringing it all together. This is going to be day 7. He said, right, this is our world today. And if we see a resume that is obviously handcrafted, it's rejected because it's too wordy. So how they want a unique resume that stands out of the crowd, and they're going to reject that one because it's too wordy. Why do you think all the resumes look the same? Because what works, everybody's going to use, because everybody wants their resume to work for them. They want to be able to have the least quantity of applications that they have to fill out with the highest quantity of return so that they can go back to work as quick as possible. Now, we've gone through the entire emotional and strategic arc of this critical first week. You've processed, audited, reflecting, prepared, networked, and started learning. Now on day 7, we put it all together. This is the planning day. Our mission is to build a structured, sustainable system for the job search marathon ahead. The biggest enemy of a long-term job search is burnout. A huge number of job seekers report feeling completely burnt out by the time they're hired. Why? Because they approach it without a plan. They swing between frantic 12-hour days of applying to everything and days of paralyzed despair. That cycle is exhausting and ineffective. Your antidote to burnout is structure. You're going to treat your job search like a project. You are the project manager of Career 2.0. So first, build your weekly candidate. This goal is not to work on your job search 8 hours a day. That's a recipe for misery. Instead, use time blocking for focused, high energy work. Is that our recruiter has to hammer this home. I'll be back for your next podcast. It's so late. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm gonna be wrapping this up in about 30 minutes. I think I only got 12 pages left, so I'm almost done with all the information that we need. I'll be making some of my shows a little bit shorter because I usually have a client that starts at around this time, but the client doesn't come back from vacation until Monday. So since they're going to be back in Switzerland on Monday, come Monday, I will start wrapping up the show about 25 minutes ago. But, you know, I'm glad that you were able to hang out for today and get a lot of this information, because as an employer, you know that the people who are losing their jobs that are coming to the show today, that they're going to be getting the inside scoop. So you could tell your recruiting team, hey, plenty more people are going to be coming from left field with this. So we need to be on the right side of this thing. Now, here are some sample structures. First thing you want to do in the morning, 9 a.m. to lunchtime, active application time. Use this time to prime for high concentration tasks, finding good job positions, reading the description, tailoring your resume, and writing a compelling cover letter. Aim for quality over quantity. 5, highly targeted applications are infinitely better than 50 generic ones. Early afternoon, right after lunch, from 1 o'clock to 3, networking and outreach time. Use this block for relationship building. Follow up on emails, conducting information interviews, engaging with people on LinkedIn, sending new outreach messages. Then late afternoon from 3 to 4, learning and growth time. This is your dedicated hour for that online course that you started. Invest in your future and yourself. It's also a great way to end the work part of your day on a positive, empowering note, because you actually learned something. And after 4 p.m., you're done. Close the laptop, go for a run, cook dinner, see your friends, whatever you want to do. You must have a hard boundary between your job search and your life to stay sane. Work-life balance is still needed with job hunting. So now you have work finding and life balance. The second part of your plan is a tracking system. When you're talking to multiple people and applying to various roles, things get confusing fast. You need a central dashboard, a simple spreadsheet, or a free tool like Trello that works perfectly. I didn't even think about Trello before today. You want to create columns for company, role title, date applied, link to the job posting. Save this. They get taken down. The link to the job posting. Contact the person. Status, such as applied, interviewing, rejected, offer. And then the next step, follow up on whatever specific date, including any intricate notes that you might need for that particular employer. This tracking system is your command center. It will prevent embarrassing mistakes and empower you to follow up professionally. It transforms the process from a chaotic mess into an organized campaign. By the end of day 7, you are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are an organized, strategic professional executing a plan. You have a schedule that prevents burnout and a system that ensures nothing falls through the cracks. This is when you're ready. So there it is, your 7-day survival guide. Let's just recap the journey very briefly. On day 1, you gave yourself permission to grieve. On day 2, we conducted an audit, replacing fear with facts. On day 3, we took time to reflect on what you truly want. On day 4, we began to prepare, foregoing a powerful new resume and LinkedIn. On day 5, we started to network and plant seeds. On day 6, we embrace learning and investing in your future. And finally, on day 7, we created a plan to guide you through the marathon ahead. So you have faced one of the most stressful things a person can go through, but getting fired is not a final judgment. It is not the end of your story. Look at the plan you just built with me today. This is a plan for a comeback. This is like Randy Orton bouncing back after evolution. I got to tell you, this is about, the kind of comebacks that leads to greater success in the future, where you will end up looking at the termination from the last job as the best thing that ever happened to you. This is a pivot point that can lead you to a job that is better fit, more fulfilling, and more aligned with who you are today. So the journey ahead won't be easy, and rejection is part of the process, but you are no longer just reacting. You are moving forward with a purpose and a renewed sense of control. This isn't the end. It's the start of your strongest chapter yet. Now, if this guide was helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel for more career advice for modern workplaces. And I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. I want you guys to share one thing you are going to do this week to move forward. Let's create a community of support right here on the channel, because no one should go through losing their job alone. You should not be negatively judged, and hopefully not trolled by some of the people that come through the channel with nothing positive to say. With that being said, I want you guys to remember, share this information with somebody that needs it. Like and subscribe on the channel. Note that we are live 7 nights a week. We don't let the sun rise without going live. We have different topics every night of the week. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday helps you make yourself a better you. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday works towards making yourself more money. Sunday is our members only shows, where we do open to the public right now, questions and comments from the fans. Now is the time for you guys to make it a part of your daily goal, typically around 10:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central Standard Time, which is 11:30 Eastern Standard Time, 7 nights a week. You want to be hovering around this channel, waiting on the show to come out. That way you will see the new things that we've got coming out. Remember to follow our dividend rotation strategy, where we're investing in different stock options that pay cash money on a regular basis. You should have just sold Global Net, preparing for the next stock buy. Come by. We have the stock options rolling across the top of the screen, which will help you guys look at or obtain more wealth, because we're following the stocks right now. So make sure that you guys take a look at that. Also, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. And then remember, this is a male-driven podcast. About 75% of the fans come from the fellas. I really appreciate you guys for coming to the show. Special shout-out to Forgive Them. Special shout-out to Usman, Bayside, Mr. Satellite, Max Opposer, and Mr. Pibbs, Reese Martinez. Special shout-out to Carl Barton. My condolences out to his families because his father's not doing well right now with the surgery. So I want to give him an extra special shout-out real quick. And then Omni81, Red Void, Danny Steffen from Twitch, Dan and Steven from Twitter. I really appreciate you guys for coming to the show. Thank you for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command.